Hello everyone, this is JPL back for another thought topic. Now if you're new to this, then you don't know what a thought topic is. That means I'm presented with a thought or a question of some sort, and I express my opinion on things. And this is purely opinion based. It's not based on statistics or evidence or anything like that. And none of this is edited. Everything is purely natural, and the reason why I do things like this, so that if you were to come up to me in person, this would be how I would describe it to you. Instead of just jumbling things up to make things look perfect. Because hey, why do you want things to be perfect? It's fun to be mistaken, if you know what I mean. And so the topic I would like to go over today would be my ranking of the 10 seasons or series of Doctor Who. Doctor Who is a show that used to be my very favorite show of all time. It's a very good show. It's about sci-fi and the Doctor and time travel and all that. Very exciting stuff. I got into the show in 2012, and I watched pretty much a season a day or a season a week, if I remember things. And I just gotta say that I really liked the show once I got into it, and I really loved it. It was my favorite show, and I just wanted Doctor Who everything, but I couldn't because the US didn't really have much. And so Doctor Who, at that point in my life, had a lot of influence in my life. As you can see from the way I look, it's given me my style of look, my clothing style with a bow tie, my hairstyle, the way I part my hair, and heck, even, just wearing a nice little hat like a fez here. It's really fun to do, and just quote weird and fun word like Alon Z, Geronimo, fantastic. It's really something that's really integrated into me. And so, the reason why it's no longer my favorite show is the test of time. I've grown up as a person, and as I've grown up, my interests and what I like evolve and change with that. And the show itself, another thing why it's no longer my favorite, is that the longer the show has gotten, the quality of the show, the production quality has risen, but the actual quality of the show, in my personal opinion, just lowers in the style and the writing that doesn't attract me as much. And so, currently my favorite show is The Clone Wars, and that's kind of always been in my high points. And the reason why, that doesn't really change much is because that show ended at a very good point and didn't really have much of a dropping point. And so yeah, so this is going to be my ranking of the 10 seasons or series of Doctor Who. Obviously, this is all personal opinion. You have your different choices and I have my choices, but let's go through this and be civilized. Going off with the bottom of my list, I have season 10. I'll be going things over season, not series, because it's much easier for a American like me to go through that. Season 10 is my least favorite season of Doctor Who. There are multiple reasons for that. One reason is that the writing for the episodes weren't the best. And like the season long arc, that the so-called arc that they had on the show was very, very weak. Didn't really have to do with the overall story. It was just there, and pretty much we knew what the secret was from the very beginning. If you can figure things out, if you can look ahead and figure out, okay, this character's coming in, I guess I know who that is. And so that's always fun. Another reason why I don't really like this season is the character of Bill. This is her first season, a brand new character, and I do believe this is her last. I hope it's her last, because I think her story is complete, and to go on with that, it's just going to be a struggle. Bill, she's not a completely bad character. She's just not very significant as a character. She's plain. Me and my mother, we both would watch the show, and we both agree that we didn't like her. Her main character trait is that she's gay, and I need to talk just for a quick moment, just to say that the reason why I don't like that aspect of her character there is just because I'm a Christian, and as a Christian, I don't believe in homosexuality being a good thing. I think it's a bad thing. And so I contribute that being in front of my face all the time, a bad thing all the time. And so that lowers the standard quite a bit. And so let's not go into a whole discussion on that, please, and let's continue on this. Bill also, if I can remember, she was also kind of a dumb character. And what I mean by that, she wasn't really smart. She'd always do reckless things. She asks stupid questions. And me and my mother would both get aggravated towards her. Near the end, she kind of lightened up, but the thing that I didn't like about her is that when she's a gay character, and that, you know, that's, I can tolerate that, but that's not really a well-written part of her character, because whenever we get to her saying, like, I'm a gay character, it's always an awkward moment where a character assumes she's straight and she's like, I'm gay. And then that's like, okay. Or like, I'm gay too. And it's just, it doesn't feel like a natural conversation or a natural thing to just say, I'm gay. And, you know, that's just, it doesn't feel right. It did not work for me and my mother when we watched it. So, it's not the best. Also, we've only watched this season once when it came out. I just recently bought the season. I might rewatch it soon, maybe. And we'll see after my second viewing. I think the best part of this season overall was the finale with the Mondasian Cybermen. It's cool to see those old Cybermen and the whole return of the First Doctor, even though that Christmas special, well, I did like the First Doctor. I didn't like how he was written a lot of the times. And we don't have to go into that. Continuing down on this ranking is Season 9. The reason why I have Season 9 here is because I've only seen the season once. I recently bought it. I haven't rewatched it yet. I'm meaning to. But the reason why this is on my lower side is because Season 9 isn't a bad season. It's just, it takes a lot of time to go through. Most of the season is contrived of two-part episodes. I like two-part episodes in Doctor Who mainly because they were a rare thing to have, and you take more time to develop the story, which is cool. But when the entire season was consisted of two-part episodes, it's like it wasn't very fun to get half of the story this week, wait another week, get the other half of the story. And so it's just, I didn't really care too much. And then you have conversations that don't need to be there. You have a filler moments inside those episodes to make it into a full-length episode because they don't have enough time to get everything out there. And some of the ideas weren't the best. This was the final season for Clara. Personally, I really liked Clara as a character. And I liked how she eventually became like a bigger character through this. I know a lot of people don't really care a lot about Clara. Personally, I really like her. And like her send-off in the show, initially, was very good and really sad. My mother cried. But then the finale kind of ruins that, and if you're not seeing the show, I'm not going to go too much into that. And so, that was a very disappointing time. And, you know, there's some good episodes in there, but most of it was just waiting for things to actually happen. Moving down the list is Season 6. Now, this is a weird one to put here, because Season 6 it's not a bad season. And you know, this is the season that most Whovians, when they go over Doctor Who, would say like, you know, you can practically just skip this season and nothing would happen. And I agree to that. You know, this season has just a weird style to it. The main thing that happened in this season was pretty much River's song and her backstory. And that's fine, but a lot of the episodes throughout the season just felt like filler, just to get that 13 episode thing going, and it didn't work out, and a lot of the episodes just didn't catch my attention so much. They weren't something that I was interested in, and so wasn't something that I really enjoyed all too much when we got to it. It was kind of boring, in fact. And so whenever I get to this season, I guess I watch the main plot point and kind of just skip the rest, just to not spend a lot of time on it. But who knows? You know, you might like it. It might be your favorite. It's just a weird thing that Whovians all say, half agree, half are confused. But yeah. Moving on down the list is Season 8. This is higher for me than Season 6. Mainly because this is Capaldi's first season. And personally, for Capaldi, his first season was my favorite season. I liked his angry self. I wasn't a big fan of what he became later on down the show when they tried to make him like a nicer character. I liked it when he was mean and grumpy because it was a new aspect that we didn't have. And it was nice seeing that here. It was interesting and I enjoyed it. Listen, the episode of this season is just a very fantastic episode. I really liked it. Lots of cool episodes, and the finale of this episode, just my goodness, I never saw that coming, that reveal. And when I saw that for the first time, I just clapped and applauded the show writers for doing something like that. It was an exciting thing. Moving down the list here, next up is Season 2. Now, when I was doing this earlier, it was very difficult for me to figure out which seasons of the first 4 seasons I should put in ranking here, because they're all fine seasons. But going through it, this season of the Tennant era isn't my favorite. There are good episodes here, but it just feels like it's outdated, a lot of what happens in this show. The main things that I really like about this season is just the finale with the Cybermen and the Daleks. Now, the Cybermen episode that came earlier itself it's fine, it's good, but I was more invested in the finale than that actual episode. And the other episodes were goofy, and the CGI itself wasn't the best, and overall, not my favorite episodes of the season. And so, this is just why it's just lower in my rank. And then, next on my rank is Season 1. The reason why Season 1 is there, Christian is not my favorite Doctor, but this season has a lot of good episodes. The finale, where Tennant's first appearance, a fantastic episode. The child, the unearthly child with a Jack Harkness and the Are You My Mummy, fantastic episode. Like the Dalek, that episode itself by itself is just another really good episode. You know, a lot of good episodes and good concepts in just the first season, and that catches a lot of attention. So even though the CGI not the best, it's still, these stories itself just go on a lot better than what goes on now. Let me check the time for real quick. Okay, I might have to edit this video. Going down the list here, we then move on to Season 3. And Season 3, I would say, it's a good episode. Martha is not my favorite companion. I know that she's probably my mother's least favorite companion. Mainly because she was whiny at times. She was, in my mother's opinion, always like, it's all your fault. which, watching through the show, she did that once later on in the season. She wasn't the best, she wasn't the most entertaining, she was the rebound girl, which is what we like to call her. And, you know, that was fine and all. But the reason why this episode in particular is the best is because this season in particular is the better, is because of episodes like Blink. You know, that's one of the best episodes out there. Probably what I would call the introductory episode for people who are uncertain about Doctor Who. Something I would say, yeah, that can work too. Also, you could probably do Season 5 as the beginning, but I think, you know, you might want to start with the Blink episode, and let's see, you want to go from the beginning, just so we can have the backgrounds of the characters. Other episodes being the finale episode. My goodness, I really enjoy the finale with the Master, even though the balls, the orbs weren't my favorite villains, minions, to come out. Other episodes in there would be the Blood Family. Initially, when I watched the show for the first few years, that wasn't my favorite episode, mainly because it's an episode with spoilers, and it's an episode where the Doctor becomes human, and he doesn't remember being a Time Lord, almost. And the reason why I didn't really like that is because I watched Doctor Who for the Doctor, and he was in those episodes, but he was human. He didn't remember being the Doctor, and I didn't really care for that. Now I can appreciate that kind of storytelling. I enjoy those episodes more, and they're quite interesting. Moving down the list is Season 4. Now, I had a bit of thinking of whether or not Season 4 or 3 should be flipped here. But then I added something to Season 4 as a category, and that's the complete specials. There's a whole year in the Doctor Who's history where they had no season, but they had specials for the holidays. And I would consider that in Season 4 just because they're not a season of their own. So I put them all together. And so that whole end of time bit with David Tennant's last run, that final 5 minutes pretty much, being one of the best things I've ever seen in Doctor Who. That's why this season ranks higher. We have Donna. She's a fine character. I enjoy her sarcasm. Other times I find her a bit annoying. My mother loves her. She's fantastic for my mother, you know, all those jokes and all that. And then, you know, the finale of this season, having all of our characters from throughout the show come together at that very end, it's just really cool to see the show evolve to this final climactic moment, and it was well deserved to wait this long to have all those characters together. And I felt like it's a good ending to this story, and like the very last episode with Tennant, a good send-off for him in this entire era. And surely this season was pretty much just to declare the end of an era of Doctor Who. And that's just a fantastic thing to have, you know. David Tennant, he used to be my favorite Doctor because he was just the cool guy. You know, he was cool looking, nice hair, and all that. But now my favorite Doctor would be Matt Smith, for reasons I'll express later. Next on this list here would be Season 7. Now, this is an interesting one for people that, you know, thinking through the show. Not many people would have this season being higher on their list. I have a few reasons why it's there. First reason is I have sentimental value with this season, you know. It was the first season where I got to watch the episodes weekly, as they started coming weekly. I got into Doctor Who about the right time, before Season 7 came out, and I remember Pond Life coming out, that 5 minutes, 5 episode shorts with Amy and Rory Pons, you know, their life. And I really enjoyed those bits. The reason why I really like this season is because I attribute this season to the exit of Amy and Rory, which is a beautiful moment. I almost cry every time I watch that moment. And then we have the introduction to Clara, another fun time. You know, this season had a lot of fun episodes, cool concepts. And then, you know, the reason why I have season 7 here is because I include the Day of the Doctor. You know, one of my favorite episodes. You know, the 50th anniversary episode. I remember going to the movie theater with a room full of Whovians. I got the last 2 tickets, literally the last 2 tickets. I was in the front row. And, you know, experiencing this one gigantic episode was fantastic. It was amazing, you know, it was so cool. And then, you know, after that we have the Time of the Doctor, the send-off for Matt Smith. Another beautiful episode, really well done, and I love it so much. And really, season 7 had a lot of episodes that I could say that I love, but also had episodes that I could care less about. But because it had like the most gigantic moments for me, I love them the most. Finally, we just move on to my very favorite season of Doctor Who. And if you've been counting down with me, then you know it's season 5. Now, the reason why I have season 5 here is because this was the season of Matt Smith, his introduction to the show. And like from the very beginning of the show, he was just a fantastic doctor, a great doctor. I love Matt Smith because he's just, for me, I feel like he holds the heart of the character. He's not the, you know, the really cool and awesome looking David Tennant. He's not the intimidating guy. He's the lovable idiot. He's the goofy, the quirky doctor who, you know, who works well with children. I love his episodes when he's talking to babies, you know. There's just this connection with them that, you know, it's just so, it's so special. You don't really get a lot of that in the other season. I just love what they did here. And pretty much this season, the reason why I love it so much is because there's not a lot of episodes of the season that I would just skip. Almost every episode, I want to watch it because the imagination of those episodes always grasps me. Another reason why I love this season was because 2 episodes, you know, with the Weeping Angels, those 2 episodes were my very first episodes that I ever saw of Doctor Who. So I have a personal connection with this season. And then the series-long arc with this season was just, what should I say, very well done. I loved the cracks and times. I love that small bit in, you know, the Angels episode, if you know what I'm talking about. That's just like, huh, that looks like an error. But no, it's not an error. It's something later on. And it's cool how it all comes together. The Vincent and the Doctor, another very good episode. That episode itself made my mother cry. Because she's an artist, she knows the struggles of Vincent van Gogh. And, you know, watching him at the very end, she cries every time she watches it. It's just, the heart of the show is in that season. The heart of the Doctor is in Matt Smith. He's the lovable guy. He has his cool moments. He has his intimidating moments. But overall, he is the Doctor. He's the guy who's always there to help. He loves the people. He's just full of heart. And initially I thought of him as my second favorite because he was just that goofy Doctor that I like. But then the older I got, the more I connected with the character. He became my favorite. And this is why I have these seasons ranked this way. This is why I loved Doctor Who at this time, because of all this stuff. In fact, I still love Doctor Who. It's still in my top 5 favorite shows. And it's still fun to rewatch these episodes. You know, there are episodes that I don't feel like rewatching because I feel like they don't work with me through rewatching them 100 times over, which I've watched every season almost 100 times over, except for the most recent seasons. But these episodes, Season 5, is my favorite because I can watch it over and over again and it still feels fresh. It still connects to me. And these are my thought topics on this. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.